Welcome, everyone, both here in the audience and those who are viewing us digitally from afar. This is the culmination of today's newsreel event, the Bernard Blum Award. Bernard Blum was one of the fathers of the association of IBMA and also one of the instigators in ABIM. He would be very pleased that we've managed to get back here together in 2021 after last year of having to work apart. Sadly, Bernard passed away in 2015, and we established this tribute to his involvement in biocontrol. His interests in biocontrol and ABIM certainly play a part in what we are doing here. And we are also joined by Owen, who is here as my co-presenter. And Owen was one of the previous presidents of IBMA, following in Bernard's footsteps. And Owen, since the outset of the Bernard Blum Award, has been the chair of the judging panel. And it's my great pleasure that Owen is here to join with us and to be able to explain what happened with the judging panel and how things actually have gone forward this year with the number of entries that we've had, which has been fantastic that we've had such varied and strong candidates that have come in this year. So with that, I'd like to hand over to Owen, who will run us through what has happened. Owen?
Yeah, as David said, my role is to tell you a little bit about the Bernard Blum Award, how we do the judging, and what we, in particular, what are we looking for in the various innovations. So I'm going to talk a little bit also about Bernard Blum, the award, and who are the panel of judges that were involved in the selections, and also what we are looking for. Now, Bernard Blum was, as David said, the founding father of IBMA, and sadly, we lost him in 2014, and this is the seventh round of Bernard Blum Awards that we've been holding since then. Bernard has a web page on Wikipedia if you want to look at his profile and his history, so it's well worth visiting. Just type in his name and you'll find out all about him. Now, just to give you the blurb that you will find on our website, what we are looking for from the entrants. We've had historically 12 to 15 entries, and this year is no exception. We're glad to say I was a little worried that perhaps we would not have as many entrants due to the COVID and so on, but we certainly have, and we've been very fortunate in that. The winner will be interviewed by Newag International and 2B Monthly, and there'll be a complimentary registration for the winner in ABIM next year. And all four winners are given the chance to present their innovations, as you will see later on. And the shortlisted finalists also have a poster display that will be in the ABIM booth down in the exhibition area. Now, the panel of judges, we had one change in the panel this year. Ilaria Pertot is no longer on the judging panel, but instead we have Philippe Nico from INRA in France, Alberto Urbaneja from EVIA in Spain, Johannes Jähler from the Julius Kuhn Institute in Darmstadt in Germany, and myself, and I coordinate all the scores and give David our considered opinions at the end of it. But should there be any tie in the scoring, then David has the casting vote, as it were. So what's the process? Well, each entry is scored independently by the judges before we put together the joint scores. And there are certain criteria that we score during the process. The first one is the scientific scoring. Whatever the product, it has to have a sound scientific foundation and merit. There has to be a degree of innovation involved in the product. And this year we added an additional criterion, which was the innovation has to be able to make a contribution to sustainable agriculture. And then finally, obviously, it has to be commercial. It has to be a commercial opportunity and not an academic project that is not going to see the light of day. Now, some other little tips. It has to be for biocontrol, obviously. It has to be registrable if it's required, if it requires a registration. It has to be novel. It's not a me too. We don't want to see stuff that's already being developed and this is just another version of it. And it has to have the potential to make an impact in the market. So the scoring, each judge evaluates the entry on those criteria, the scientific, innovation, sustainable agriculture, as I said, and commercial. We add the scores together, and then we rank them from first to last, and then I combine everybody else's thoughts on the ranking, first to last, and all entries are eventually listed on the IBMA website. The products assisting biocontrol, which is the new criterion this year, has also been assessed using the same criteria. And the winners, second and third place, are announced here tonight, as well as the winner of the assisting biocontrol uptake category. So please consider entering in the future. Remember to highlight the essential criteria when you put your proposal together. Best of luck and thank you.
Thanks very much, Owen, for guiding us through what the judging panel looked for. Now, I have the pleasure to introduce the first of the 4 presentations that you're about to see. Caroline Reid is the chair of the Macrobials Professional Group. She's also the chair of IBMA UK, and she has a day job as well with Bioline Agrosciences. And Caroline, the floor is yours. Show us what perfect innovations you've come up with Tea Protect Booster. Caroline, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you, David and Owen. So I want to talk to you about Tea Protect Booster, which is a new innovative system for fast, easy mechanical application of beneficial wasps. So we all know that the use of biocontrol in small-scale concentrated horticultural crops is widespread, and it's accepted practice, but the use in broadacre field crops is still challenging. And why is this? Well, first of all, we have very large areas. Manual application is time-consuming. Many BCAs are still manually applied. Particularly with increasing labour costs, this makes this an increasingly expensive task, almost prohibitive for growers and farmers. Secondly, weather conditions will affect the biocontrol agents either during application or post-application once they're in the field waiting to do their work. So Tea Protect Booster brings together several technologies from Bioline Agrosciences which solve the 3 main problems in biocontrol application and use in broadacre row crops. So first of all, it involves our Tea Protect system. So Tea Protect is a patented release system for beneficial insects, particularly for beneficial wasps, specifically Trichogramma. Tea Protect is fully biodegradable, so it fits the biodegradable current requirements. It's cardboard. It's a tube that's designed to hold one of our trickle line dispensers. And this, in many ways, it provides protection for our insects, so solving the issue of the weather and the elements. So how does it protect? Obviously, it's a little box that protects the insects from the sun because they're shaded within the box. But it also protects from the radiant heat coming back up from the ground. So sometimes things that are released onto the ground will not survive because the ground is too hot. Obviously, it protects from the rain because it's covering the insects. It protects from predators. The wasps release from very tiny holes within the sides of the dispenser that's inside the T-Protect. And we've made these holes so that predators cannot enter to feed on the wasps and their eggs. Particularly ants are very keen on eating biocontrol insects. It also protects against physical damage during transport. So when the product arrives with the grower, the farmer, it's in perfect condition, the same as it left our production site. So the next part of the system is the T-Protect booster. So what does this do? It's a mechanical applicator that can be attached to the back of many different machines. It can be attached onto the 3-point hitch of a tractor, a quad, an SSV, and obviously this speeds up application because we're not relying on manual application anymore. And it can speed up application by a factor of 5 or higher. So you can see in the picture the T-Protect booster on the back of the tractor. So we have the T-Protect booster system. It's a self-contained distribution unit. The benefit of that is that once it's taken off the tractor or the quad or tractor can be used in their normal usage. So it means it doesn't have to be a dedicated machine for the T-Protect booster. The booster holds up to 20 hectares of product per fill. It takes 5 minutes to load the T-Protect booster, and they're interchangeable. So if the grower has a much larger area, they can have more than one and just literally take them off and put them back on again. The next slide, that we have a video showing how easy this is to do. So you can see here that the canisters are literally slid into the T-Protect boost machine that was easily taken off the back of the machine. How simple. It can be filled in 5 minutes and applied to the machine in seconds. So overall, what is T-Protect Booster? It's a combination of technologies from Bioline Agrisciences. We have trichogramma, tricholine. Our trichogramma is specially treated. We have a 4-wave release system from our dispensers. And in the case of corn borer, which is the first product that we're using T-Protect Boost for, this can actually cover the whole life cycle of the pest. So we have one application covers the whole life cycle. So there's no second release required. We have the T-Protect, which, as we've discussed, is a biodegradable system that protects the wasps once they're in the field. We have the canister system. So the whole, it's delivered to you, as you saw in the boxes, easy to load into the T-Protect booster. And then obviously the final part is the T-Protect booster, which, as we've seen, you put on the back of your tractor and off you go. We have liftoff. So thank you for your attention. And there is another video here that just shows you the T-Protect booster working in a field and how it's dropping the T-Protect out of the machine would be over a crop of corn. Whoops. I don't think the video is going to work. I don't think I did that.
Okay, well, thank you, Caroline. Those that want to see that video, we'll certainly be making that available online, and it should be also available in the Bernard Blum stand down in the exhibition hall for those of you attending here at ABIM today. Now I'd like to ask Ashish Melek. Ashish I've known for a long time. He's been a long supporter of ABIM. He's come across from California to join us and be here in Basel today. And he's now the head of B-Vectoring Technology. Ashish, please show us what you've been up to.
Great, thanks, David. It is a pleasure to be back here for an in-person event. We've all kind of, grown tired of webinars and Zoom meetings, so it's great to be back in person. So a few words about B-Vectoring Technology. We are a core AgTech company, and we have a core AgTech tool, which we're very excited about and we're bringing to market. What we've done with BVT is combine the benefits of two all-natural systems, so biological crop controls, together with an all-natural delivery system, which is where the B-vectoring element comes in, where we deliver these biologicals through managed pollinator hives. So by combining these two systems, these two natural systems together, we have the only natural precision agricultural tool out there. The benefits of this system are quite compelling. We have a system where we're delivering grams of active ingredient compared to kilograms of active ingredient, which on a per hectare basis. We also have a system which doesn't use any water. So I live in California, and for those of you that may not be aware, we're going into yet another drought in California, and farmers have to find ways to conserve water. So this is an extremely important value proposition of our technology. It's also sustainable. We don't use any heavy machinery, no reliance on fossil fuels, so we have a very small footprint for that farming operation on the planet. And the best part of it all, if you're a grower, is that the economics are very compelling. We've been able to demonstrate yield increases as high as 30% through the reduction of chemical sprays by as much as 98%. So the farmer ends up with a higher yield, a better crop, less chemical residues, and really it is a win-win also with the environment. I'm not going to talk much about ag biologicals. Of course, to this audience, everybody understands the benefits of these products and how they are viable alternatives to chemicals, and we've been able to demonstrate that over the last several decades. But let's spend a minute talking about B-vectoring. We think it is an alternative to spraying, and when I talk about B-vectoring, I'm simply talking about the delivery of biological crop protectants through these managed beehives. The whole idea behind B-vectoring is actually quite compelling. It's a very large opportunity. There's over 115 crops grown worldwide that require some form of pollination. The FAO estimates there's something like 80 million hives that are used in commercial agriculture on a worldwide basis. So the numbers are quite large. The opportunity is very large. But the rationale is very compelling as well. So if you think about where the bees are visiting, they're visiting only the flower of the crop. So to the extent that there is a disease or there's an insect pressure that's affecting the flower area of a crop, using bees to deliver the biological control agent is a very effective and efficient and targeted way to do it. The benefits we've already talked about. Very targeted delivery means less product, less wastage, and it also contributes to higher yields. One thing I want to point out is the bees are visiting the flowers every day during the bloom period. So by delivering small inoculum every day, you get a very consistent delivery of the biological control agent compared to spraying, where you may have a 7 or 8 day interval between sprays, which means that potentially any blooms that open up between the sprays are vulnerable to the attack of pests. The way our system works is really quite simple, but it's very effective. The BCA, the biological control agent, is formulated into a special powder, and this powder is placed strategically where the bees leave the hive. And as these foraging bees leave the hive, they walk across this powder, they pick it up on their bodies, on the hairs of their legs and the lower abdomen. They fly with so in a sense, we are cargo on the flight that the bees are naturally making as they visit the flower. Once they reach the flower and start their pollinating and looking for the food source for them, the BCA falls off their bodies. If it's a microorganism, it colonizes the plant tissue, giving the farmer the control that they're looking for. The bees, in the meantime, return to the hive, and the whole cycle repeats itself. We've demonstrated that this technology gives some very compelling results. So here we've modeled a strawberry season in Florida, in the eastern United States, where we compared traditional spraying of chemicals, and in Florida they still spray on every 7th day, against, on the left side, what you see is the equivalent control of botrytis using a biofungicide delivered using beehives. What you can see is you're delivering and getting equivalent control. We've demonstrated equivalent efficacy by delivering 20 grams of an active ingredient compared to 4 kilograms that the farmer would spray of an AI over the course of that 2.5-month season. So 1/200th of the amount of the active ingredient. So we've taken this technology and now have built a commercially viable system that's backed with solid IP. We have 6 different aspects of our technology that have been protected through patents that have been granted. We have over 65 patents granted worldwide. We have 2 dispenser systems, one that work with commercial bumblebee hives, and we've demonstrated that it works with the North American Bombus impatiens, as well as with the European Bombus terrestris bumblebees. And then we also have a dispenser that works with the common European honeybee. On the right-hand side, what you see is our own proprietary biofungicide. It is a strain of the Clonostachys rosea species of beneficial fungus, and we have developed that in the United States initially, the first biological that's been registered by the EPA for delivery using bees, and we're commercializing and selling the system now in the US. Our focus initially has been on the berry crops, but we have also been doing work in tree nuts, in oil seeds, in stone fruit. The opportunity also is there in pome fruit and flowering vegetables, greenhouse production. So the opportunity for using bee vectoring systems is quite diverse and very large with different cropping systems around the world. This slide shows the kinds of results and the success that we're getting in the US. We've seen, typically it takes about 4 years to get a grower to fully adopt a new technology, but this is a real testimonial from a grower who's now seeing 28% yield increases compared to when he wasn't using the BVT system, 20 times return on investment, and has already converted 100% of the operation to using BVT. We're in the next phase of expansion now, where we're expanding our product portfolio. We're looking for other biological products that could be used within this system so we can control multiple diseases, multiple pests, so we could stack these other products together with our biofungicide to give a complete insecticide, fungicide system for our farmers. Or in other cases, we could just have either an insecticidal control or a fungicidal control, depending on what the crop requires for that farmer. Okay, with that, I thank you for your attention.
Thanks very much, Ashish, and thanks for keeping to time. I would like to now move across that we have Celine Ramponi-Burr from Certus Europe here with us with a product that is a natural substance-based product and something that is really quite, again, innovative. What we're seeing is really innovative solutions. Without further ado, if I hand over to you, Celine.
Thank you, David. And thank you for the opportunity to present ProBlad today, which is a novel broad-spectrum biorational fungicide. So, to start, ProBlad is a biorational fungicide of natural origin. It is a sweet lupin concentrate plant extract, which is from germinated seeds of Lupinus albinus sweet variety used as raw material. It's not that often that we do see a plant extract coming to our industry. And most of the time it's because it's not that easy to cultivate and extract and make the plant protection product out of it. ProBlad has today reached the industrial level production and is fully manufactured in Europe by a company named CEV under very high and strict quality control measures. On this slide, it is showing you what ProBlad will do for the first label that we intend to register in Europe. You could see on this slide that it will be a very broad spectrum fungicide, which will target powdery mildew and grey mold, so major uses on key crops like strawberries, tomatoes, aubergines, both indoor and in outdoor conditions. It is also in the intention to be registered in grapevine and table grape. Alongside powdery mildew and grey molds, the solution is also providing very efficient control of Monnilia species on all the stone fruits. And also, it is a very strong solution against rice blast, so an arable crop. Alongside those main uses, we also intend to register ProBlad on a lot of minor uses for powdery mildew and grey mold from the very beginning of the registration in Europe. So what is innovative about ProBlad? Maybe you do not know, but sweet lupine are very much consumed in Europe for human and animals, but ProBlad is currently the very first plant protection product made out of it. It is, as you have seen on the previous slide, a broad spectrum fungicides, but it's not only what ProBlad will be able to make, because we already have found very interested leads in activities of ProBlad against some rusts and sclerotinia, for instance. One key element of ProBlad is that it will provide to the market a novel and unique multi-site mode of action, which is linked to its lead component, BLAD, a protein. It would be too ambitious to describe you here the mode of action of ProBlad, but it is affecting the fungus cell in many ways, ultimately end by the death of the fungal cell. And as such, it has been classified by the FRAC as under a new created group, which is BIM01, Biological Will Multi-Site Mode of Action. ProBlad is providing high and regular performances on the targets that I've shown to you. It is selective to all crops, and it has no impact on transformation process, and it's additionally compatible with IPM programs and with a large majority of plant protection product. Let's illustrate the high and regular performances that ProBlad is providing. On this slide, you have here a very high-level summary of the activity it's provided on the major uses I've shown you just before. What is interesting in this slide is that we have extracted here just the trials where we are comparing ProBlad to chemical references and not biorationals. And you could see here that ProBlad is really providing very consistent control on those targets, matching the performances of chemical standards. How do we hope ProBlad will contribute to sustainable agriculture? As I've said to you, ProBlad is providing to our industry a new mode of action, multi-site. And as such, it will help the resistance management to fungicides. The active substance of ProBlad has no residue definition. It has been listed last week under the Annex 4. So, as such, we intend to grant no or short PHI according to each national regulation that will help the growers to meet food chain requirements. ProBlad is intended to be organic farming listed. The application has been submitted to the ECTOP. And because it's a highly effective product, it will reduce the use of conventional products because it could substitute conventional product in programs. And finally, and we believe it's very important, the product will be provided to all the growers and with a wide label from the very beginning, including minor crops. Today, I'm very pleased to say that the active substance has been positively voted at active substance level earlier this year as a low-risk substance for 15 years. And the process is engaged to make it registered in all European countries. 17 countries are already on their way to have access to ProBlad with a wide label for indoor and outdoor usage from the very beginning. It is very easy to handle products. There is no specific condition of use of ProBlad. It can be stored and used as any other plant protection product. It can be easily integrated into a spray program in conventional or in organic farming. And as you can imagine, we are doing still very active research to keep on working with ProBlad to allow label extension in some arable crops tomorrow. So this was about ProBlad. If we only have to keep few words in mind, ProBlad is a new natural origin, a new product from natural origin with a novel and unique multi-site mode of action. It is providing highly effective and consistent control against many pathogens. It is selective to all crop and compatible with ABIM program. And it has no residue definition that will help growers to meet increasing food chain requirements. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Celine. And I think we've shown that we did have a fairly diverse range of products that came through for the judges, and that the judges didn't pick one category alone to bring forward on the short list. And that gives me pleasure to introduce the last award finalists that we're going to talk with and hear their presentation. Szymon Steinberg and Arnon Tabic of BioB. BioB have been a long-term attendee and supporter of ABIM and come here, and we've seen a product assisting macroorganisms, we've seen a microbial with a delivery system, we've seen a natural substance. Now let's hear about a macrobial and what we're dealing with there. So I hand over, and you'll hear from both of these gentlemen as we go forward. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, David. Good evening, everybody. We would like, Arnon and myself, would like to tell you something about a dream that come true. Sometimes dreams come true. And the story is about the slow-release sachets of Phytozeolus persimilis. Just a little bit of a background. We are talking about pests, spider mites, that we know that these are the worldwide pests which attack hundreds of plant species in dozens of botanical families. Devastating pests actually all over the globe. Trees, shrubs, indoors, outdoors, etc. Against spider mites, the ultimate microbial natural enemy is Phytozeolus persimilis. Actually, practically the most important commercially available global natural enemy against spider mite since 1968. So it's definitely the oldest microbial known globally, commercially available. And practically now, dozens of billions of predatory mites of Phytozeolus persimilis are actually sold all over the world commercially. Naturally speaking, or traditionally, persimilis is produced in a tritrophic level. You actually need a plant. On top of the plant, you are producing those spider mites because this persimilis is so specific. And on top of these spider mites, you are producing the Phytozeolus persimilis. Eventually, you harvest it one way or the other and actually commercialize it. This is what is done since 1968 all over the world by individuals, researchers, scientists, industry, everything. This is a traditional method. And as a leader of production and implementation worldwide of Phytozeolus persimilis, at BioB, we were constantly thinking, something that we are doing since 1983, since our foundation, producing persimilis, what else can we do? can we improve? How can we make progress and deliver and produce and deliver Persimmons in a different way? So now it's about to show you actually the results of a project that my colleague, Mr. Arnon Tabik, led in the past 5 years that actually yielded the product that we would like to introduce. Arnon, please.
Thank you, Shimon. Okay, hi, everybody. So as Shimon said, this is the production system is a tritrophic one. So what would happen is that the production system is very similar to what happens in the field, at the customer's field. So spider mites on top of plants in greenhouses like we see here, the prey for production is the same prey against the natural enemy is used. So this is true for Phytoceylus persimilis, which is a specialist mite. What does it mean that it's a specialist? It only feeds on spider mites. Okay, so this production system is the one suitable for it. But for other predatory mites, more generalist mites that can live on a broader range of diets, there are alternative production methods. So these kind of mites are usually mass-reared in a factory-like setting, and they're reared on an alternative prey. So the prey used for rearing is not the same prey against which they're targeted to be used at the farmer's place. Okay? And an additional improvement of this method is that from the production, they're not sent directly to the farmer in bottles, but put into small paper sachets with alternative feed, okay, the same prey used for the rearing. And then these sachets are hanged on the plants at the grower's side, and the mites can keep reproducing in there, creating a slow release system over time. So this has many advantages. It's very desirable, but unfortunately, it hasn't been a possibility for Phytoceylus persimilis so far, and the reason is because persimilis is such a specialist, feeding only on spider mites. So, and now we're glad to announce that after an effort of several years, we found a way, for the first time after 5 decades, it's been commercially known worldwide, to produce persimilis on an alternative prey. And we're introducing the Biopercy Plus. Okay, so that's our new product. The rearing is based on a novel production method, and one of the interesting results is that the predator isn't no longer the famous orange it used to be, but it comes out white when it gets to the client. The rearing takes place in climate rooms and not in greenhouses. And we have a different product, both the bottled product, but also slow-release sachets like we have for generalist mites. So we offer these slow-release sachets in 2 different formula, either the classic that you see on the left, intended for preventive use, with a prolonged exit of the mites from the sachet, or the speed sachet you see on the right, which is formulated differently, so the mites leave the sachet faster, which is intended for curative application. And here we can see what it seems like if we see the exit hole of the sachet, and we have, can we see it? Yeah, okay. And a mating couple is now just leaving the exit hole on its way to the plant to control the spider mites. Now, one might wonder if we change the prey used for rearing, do they still remember what to do when they encounter spider mites? And gladly, the answer is yes. We see here persimilis eating spider mites' eggs. This is one of the exciting things to see. Within seconds after they're put on infested plants, these persimilis start attacking eggs, nymphs, and adults of spider mites. We see here another example. Okay? So at this stage, you can see that the mites are still bright white, but they quickly change their color. So they arrive white to the field, start feeding on spider mites, and then after a day or 2, they would start changing the color back to orange after feeding on spider mites, either eggs like we see on the left, or adults like we see on the right. There are a few differences between the conventional Persimmons product and the new product. So I spoke about the color. Regarding the age structure, with the conventional product, we have only adults, and with the new product, we have both adults and juveniles. We didn't have any predator eggs in the conventional product, and we do have them with Percy Plus. A very interesting difference is the mite status. Mites are starved in the conventional product, which is used for their harvesting system. But we don't need this manipulation with Percy Plus, so they arrive to the field where they are well fed. Okay? And this also results in a change in behavior. So the conventional products mites are very hectic, they run around very quickly, and they're much more calm with the new Biopercy Plus product. Also, a few other features. So it has alternative feed. We saw improved searching abilities and increased fecundity because of the mites are not starved. We have continuous predation thanks to the presence of the juveniles. And we have a very unique proof of predation. So when you see the mite changing its color on the crop from white to orange-red, you know that it had fed on spider mites, that it's doing the job it was intended to. And just shortly, we tested for the efficacy of the slow-release sachets here on sweet pepper plants. These were given different treatments of preventive treatments. So we used early or late, meaning 1 week before spider mites or 2 weeks before spider mites, and then we monitored what happened, and we had a non-treated control. So you can see on the top graph that we quickly found predators in the preventive treatments and none in the control. And on the lower graph, you see that the spider mites were controlled very rapidly by the predators in the preventive release, while in the non-treated control, they kept escalating. So that's about it. I would like to say thanks to a few people. Tom, my great colleague, who was the co-leader of the project. Amit, who was in charge of the field R&D, and the entire lab of technicians and engineers that made this thing come true and enable this new era in spider mites control. And thank you for listening.
Love you.
Thanks very much, Shimon and Anon. It's, as you can see, the judges didn't have an easy decision as to what was going to either make it, because there were other products of good standard as well that the judges didn't make to the final selection, but even selecting from these is a real task. And I thank the judges for their role in doing that and their dedication to biocontrol's advancement and looking for these products of the future. And all of you, please keep putting those entries in. Keep making it a hard decision for the judges. But it's the time now for us to make those awards and present those. And we've only had one product assisting here on the podiums today, and I'd like to call on Caroline Reed and come out to the front with me, and I'll present the trophy and the certificate. So Caroline will go out to the front so that they get the photo opportunities. So Caroline, well done to Bioline. There's your certificate of the Bernard Blum Award and your trophy.
Thank you.
And it will now be displayed in the Bernard Blum Award booth down in the exhibition area. Well done, Caroline.
Thank you very much.
I'll now hand over to Owen, who's going to present the third place award.
Yes, as David said, it's been a tough task, as you've seen from the presentations today, but I'm very happy to say that in third place, we have put the bee vectoring technology, and what we call, yes, I have to carry two on this occasion. There we go. How are we going to do this? Let's put it there.
Okay.
And then we can do it that way.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Many congratulations.
Thanks a lot, Tim.
That leaves us with two that are remaining here at the moment. And again, the judges did face a tough decision there, but I would like to make that second place award at the moment to Celine. Well done, Celine. Let's join at the front there. A very worthy entry. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Your certificate for second place and your Bernard Blum Award trophy.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you, David.
Owen, please.
Yes. By the process of elimination, you can guess who the winners are of the main trophy, and it's our guys with the wonderful new product.
So if you'd please join us, Shimon and Arnon at the front here.
So, BioB, congratulations.
Well done. Thank you. Good work. And what we'd invite
Congratulations.
Shimon to give his reaction to that. We'll let you go back to your podium place and respond to that winning of the award.
Well, these kind of things do not happen so frequently. So it's time to thank, first of all, the judging panel for their wise decision, for the decision in favor of our entry, of course, vis-à-vis the very nice and rewarding entries as well out of the others. I want to thank BOB employees. More than 300 people all over the world, in Israel and in 7 different subsidiaries, that really, wake up every morning with a spark in their eyes to work, to innovate, to do the hard job, to do the more glamorous one, but that strive every single day for 38 years, since 1983, and definitely this type of achievement, they absolutely deserve it. I want to thank our friends and colleagues at Koppert, Holland, with whom we are collaborating in the production and application of the traditional persimmons for 38 years. Also, since the foundation of BOB, so this is a very nice collaboration that we appreciate along the course of the time very much. Growers, I want to thank our fellow growers in Israel and abroad. Part of those growers are my personal friends that their plots served as our trial fields in different crops, in vegetables, in ornamentals, in Israel and abroad. So I have a great appreciation to them as well. And finally, just personal words. I'm working 32 years for BOB, and this kind of thing happens, I guess, once in a lifetime. That's my feeling. A game changer like this, something that will really contribute to the industry. We will help the industry, will help growers to combat spider mites better than they were doing up till now. And this is, as modest contribution as it is, still for us, it's a very big thing. And I really thankful to be part of this. And again, thank you all for judging, us as a first place. Thank you very much. Maybe last but not least, David, I was in the first IBMA event that was headed by Bernard Blum at the beginning of the 90s. So this is also for me a very emotional moment in memory of the Bernard. Yes.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that response to winning the award, Shimon. And I also think Bernard would be very pleased with looking at the standard of the products that the competition has brought forward and these truly commercially applicable entries that we've seen that are making life easier for farmers, are increasing the efficacy of biocontrol and making it a real alternative to be able to be used as common mainstream agriculture as we go forward for both organic and conventional agricultural uses. So well done, all of you. The Bernard Blum Award, though, wouldn't be possible without sponsors. And I thank very much IBMA, NEWAG International and 2B Monthly, and also the ABIM AG group for being able to see the way forward to continue this award and reward people for innovation in biocontrol and a real commercial side to it, as Bernard was very prone to make sure that it did work for people in a viable way. So I really do thank those sponsors for making that happen. So I also, though, have a very unique role this year to close the newsreel virtual event that we have been doing. COVID has changed our lives in many ways over the last couple of years. And what we have done is we, as a conference, this is a truly international conference. We've managed to have a live event for those mainly from Europe, but not only. As you can see, we've gone to the far ends of Europe with coming from Israel, but we've also had people coming and participating from the US here as well. But some countries have not been able to travel as easily, and we were very conscious that they're part of the ABIM family and that we wanted to involve them in this event as well. So it gives me pleasure to close the virtual session that we are having, the streaming event, and we're about to close ABIM for the day, whereas you can all, you live audience, come and join us for a cocktail reception downstairs. I say to those at home, please raise a glass to ABIM. We remember you. Please remember us for next year, and hopefully you'll be able to join us live again here in Basel. And we appreciate that you haven't been able to, and we hope that you've enjoyed the 3 sessions that we've given you today. So with that, I would like to close the event. I'd also like to thank our sponsors for the ABIM whole event, because again, without them, this live streaming event would not have occurred either. So all of those sponsors, please, very much a personal thank you from myself, but also from the ABIM AG team. Well done, and having the faith in ABIM. And for those who are here, please go back down to the exhibition area, have a look around, and join us for a drink in the area there, the central area, where we'll be having the cocktail reception. Thank you all very much, and I hope you agree with us that we've made some valuable choices and we have some good products for the future. Well done.